Alright, some real talk for today. Imagine your life as a race. In a normal race, right, the fast people are all the way in front, the middle people are in the middle, and then the slow people are at the back, right, the fat people. But in the race of life, it's a bit different. 90% of people are all the way at the back, whilst 10% of people, a very small percentage of people, are all the way in the front. There is very little people in the middle. Why? Because most people do the bad habits. They play video games, they take one step back. They scroll on Instagram, they take one step back. Everyone in this race is like taking one step back. They're running in the opposite direction. And then a few people are running in the positive direction. Most people think, oh, it's okay to eat a little bit of junk food or play 1 hour video games. But the thing is, if you take one step back because of that, and you do that every day, after a year, you're 365 steps behind. Whilst the guy that is consistently taking one step forward, he just does the bare minimum. He's 365 steps ahead. So now there's like the difference of 700 steps between you. You will never catch up to him. And for the people that watch my videos, on self-improvement and everything, what might be happening to you is you're still running back because you're taking one step forward with the good habits, but then you do the bad habits again, you relapse, you fall back to them, and you take 2 steps back. So either way, you take 1 step forward, 2 steps back, you're still making negative progress. And with those bad habits, those unproductive things, 90% of people do it. And that's why they're all the way at the back of this race. Over time, over years of doing it, the difference works itself out, where the people that do just a little bit better, the people that literally just try, end up all the way up here. So getting into the top 10%, 20%, whatever small percentage of people who are up here in the race, it's not that hard. Here's how to do it. Yeah, before I tell you, a couple weeks ago, I was talking to a girl and she asked me, this really simple question. How many push-ups do you think the average person can do? The average male? And I thought probably like 2. And that kind of surprised her because like, oh yeah, aren't males supposed to be able to do more? No. She was a bit shocked, but then I told her to think about it logically. 50% of people in my country are like old, like above like 60 or something. But most people are already out of the race. And then if you look at the 50% that are not old, most of them are either overweight or skinny. So they're also kind of out of the race. And then of those remaining like healthy BMI people, most of them don't work out. So that leaves such a small percentage at the end of the day. No one is even trying. It's mean, but like look at your classmates and have like a little bit of disgust. Like this is how you live your life. Seriously. But the interesting thing is that I think most people subconsciously know that they're in this race, but they never internalize it. Because think about it, in school, in class, there's always a top student and then there's always a worst student. It's ranked. There's always competition. There's a best and worst in this race of school. In the workforce, you're gonna be racing. You're gonna be trying to beat people and compete for money. Even to something as small as when you go outside, we are unconsciously sizing each other up, seeing who's the most attractive person, who looks dangerous, who looks high status. That's why people wear suits, because they want to be a little bit above the competition. Like if there's one businessman that's wearing a suit and another one that's not wearing a suit, the guy who's wearing a suit will simply just get more deals. He looks more presentable, people trust him a little bit more, and that little bit, that tiny difference, again, will make a huge impact over the long term. So with pretty much everything we do, there's this hidden layer underneath of, oh yeah, no matter what I'm doing, I'm competing against other people. Not in this way of like, oh, I have to beat everyone at everything. It's in this way of, yeah, we're just ranked. It's just how it is. We're always ranked in, like, we make judgments about people in a couple seconds. Like, I'm not a scientist or anything, but I know there's been studies about this, like where it's proven that your judgment about someone, your first impression can happen within like half a second. Within a fraction of a second, we put people in certain categories in our brain. We rank them in where we think they are in the social hierarchy. So yeah, I think most people know that we're in competition. It's just that we've never truly internalized it and think, oh, in everything I'm in competition, so why don't I get ahead? So you want to know how to get ahead? You want to know how to stand out? Just do nothing. Remember what I said in the beginning, most people are taking a step back, or they're taking a step forward and a couple steps back. Most people are making negative progress. If you do nothing, if tomorrow you wake up, you don't grab your phone, you don't do anything destructive, you just focus on one thing, you just chose one thing, one aspect of life, studies, exercise, whatever, right? You just choose one and you focus on that the whole day. By simply not doing those bad things, by not taking a step back, by staying where you are, you've beat most people already. So I just think it's kind of sad that we lose this competitive side of us as we grow up for some reason. Even though, as what I'm imagining is, as a child, you're full of testosterone, like a little boy full of testosterone. He wants to climb trees, he wants to adventure, he wants to ride his bike, he wants to compete with other little boys in like soccer or like whatever sport. Not because they hate each other or anything, not because he wants to beat other kids, but because he just wants to see what he's capable of. And the best way to see what you're capable of is to compete against other people. That's why when you go to see the Olympics, see the people that are best at this sport, they're always competing. They're not doing it alone, they're doing it alongside each other because they're gonna push each other, right? But most people nowadays, like if you look at people in your class, because that's, I'm a student, so that's what I think about. Most teens, we're supposed to be in like the peak of our life. And when you're a teenager, when you're 18, you're supposed to have the highest testosterone ever. Yet when you look at most teenagers, they're sedated with technology. They look like, like a lion that's supposed to be ferocious and strong and fast, and it's just been tranquilized. We're supposed to be competitive. Every animal play fights with each other and they compete for food and they compete for things, and we don't. I think that's kind of sad. I don't really know what I can do about it. Like, maybe you can tell me, but maybe this video will help well, that's partially why I'm making a video, so that maybe someone that hasn't woken up to this fact yet will be like, oh yeah, I remember when I was a kid and I was competitive. Why don't I just channel that into my everyday life nowadays? But the thing is, most people won't, right? Let's just be honest. Most people will not. Most people, even if they watch this video, they just won't. Most people tomorrow will not do more than 10 push-ups. If you do 11, you've beat them. Tomorrow, 70% of people won't even meditate. They don't even know what meditation is. If you meditate for 1 minute, you've beat them. Tomorrow, 90% of people will scroll on social media. If you do nothing, if you just don't scroll, you don't pick up your phone, you've beat them. It is so easy to beat people nowadays. So where are you in this race? Because if you imagine where you are right now, let's say you're like, down here, and you imagine where you could be if you did everything right, if you took the steps forward, your potential. Imagine where your potential would be if you did most things right, probably all the way up here somewhere. And so you gotta light that fire for yourself, have that spirit of competition. And it's not in this like, oh yeah, I want to beat everybody because I hate everybody, teenage angst kind of way. It's more in a let's just see what I'm capable of kind of way. So as long as you try, you've already beaten most people. Take action. I don't know if you guys like the video. This like real talk kind of video where there's less editing. It's just me speaking about something with my notes at the side here. Just written some stuff down. It's a lot easier to make as well. Like my throat gets kind of dry though because I'm trying to do it in one take. But yeah. Alright. Give me a kiss. Mwah.